You know, it's funny. One of the final things I said in the Fire Emblem Fates Let's Play is I didn't want to make an epilogue. In 78 videos, why would I need an epilogue? Yet, here we are. As time wises us, and I was just editing through the later videos once I got to the DLC episodes, and I was like, you know what? There's so much more I have to say, and that belief was only expanded upon once I actually got to episode 78, is I definitely talked about the games itself plenty, but I don't feel like I talked about my experience properly. I was so focused on allowing Seth to talk, for obvious reasons, because he was there for all the episodes, that I never really sat back to actually think about the journey of recording. This is a series that was recorded from June 2024 to, frick, I don't know when we finished it. I don't even remember. I genuinely don't remember. Was it March? Was it April? I think it was April. I don't know. But I mean, I guess technically the more definitive answer now is May. This is one of those rare times that I'm actually only filming something about a month before it goes up. Something that the entire Final Fantasy VI Let's Play has experienced its whole life. Being filmed so soon to release, and the fact that I don't have uploads for it ready for next week. Something that Fire Emblem Fates never had to experience. From a creative process, I was fully done recording Birthright before I even started recording Conquest. What I meant to say was I was fully edited with Birthright before I even started recording Conquest. And Conquest was halfway recorded before Birthright started airing. We finished recording Birthright in August. It started airing in October. Conquest was finished December, so it took longer to record, but that was just because we were recording less. It was finished recording before really the second half of Birthright on its own was being released. And that makes it very weird to look back at this, to watch through these while editing and be like, oh, that aged horribly, or oh, that aged well. It's funny to look back at Fire Emblem Fates Revelation when I'm talking about all these Final Fantasy experiences. Being able to talk about, oh wow, I'm playing Final Fantasy 16, so great. Check out my second channel. I'm about to finish recording that game. And when this gets uploaded, the Let's Play itself is going to be almost over. Which is crazy to think about, because I just first experienced that game while playing this, and yet that Let's Play is finishing barely after this. I talk about Final Fantasy VI in the Fire Emblem, all these FRPGs, I swear. And the noise comes from this thing, by the way. She decided to come down here. And then the conversation where I talk about, like, my discovery of Final Fantasy VI, well, that episode of Fire Emblem, well, that episode has not, it was only recently gone live. I think it's gone live. I don't even know at this point anymore. And the Let's Plays, I'm halfway through the first half of the game. So I'm a quarter of the way through the game. A more elegant way to put that would be. And that's just one of those weird things to think about. And again, that's not even really talking about, like, the series itself. I find that a lot of my best series, before I start editing them, I'm like, okay, I think I was okay. I remember finishing the final episode of New Mystery, it's like, I think it'll be a fine enough series. And then I start editing and I'm like, okay. My goals were to surpass the quality of the original Mystery of the Emblem Let's Play I did there. And, well, I think I easily... Cut this out of the video. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by society? Well, it was probably important. Oh, yeah. And Mystery was... It's still my... It's the Let's Play I look at with the least love, because it starts so well. before it completely falls off and dies in quality. So I went into New Mystery, just wanted to beat that. I was like, yeah, I beat that. Then I watch it, and it's one of my favorite Let's Plays. And the exact same things happened with Fates almost 3 times in a row. I finished Birthright, I go into editing, like, I hope it's good. And wow, it's great. I go into Conquest thinking it is either great or horrible. It was great. And Revelation, I was like, yeah, I think this is the worst route. I think it's my favorite of the 3 routes, Let's Play-wise. Gameplay, story-wise, yeah, it's the worst. But Let's Play-wise, I do think that with the right people, bad gameplay and story does create good content. And Seth's great with that. Diego and Josh also really help with that. And I think just Fates inherently is such an entertaining game, even when it's not good. That the Let's Play itself is fun. I mentioned in one of the later episodes in Revelation, it wasn't as fun to like think about like, oh, it's time to record Fire Emblem. But even then, I was still always excited to talk with Seth. And, you know, I like my stats. This is a sheet of the length of every single video in the series. I kept track of stats like how many sub-hour videos there were in each route, how many videos above 75 minutes there were in each route, the average length of each route. And there is a noticeable progression. Birthright has the least amount of sub-hour videos with the least amount of videos above 75 minutes. It also has the shortest average video length and the shortest best of. I thought Revelation was going to be the shortest average video length. No. It had the most sub-hour videos. It also had the most videos above 75 minutes, and the longest average video length, and the longest best of. And what's really funny about these stats is, and this is just, I don't know, I just find this kind of stuff fun, and this is one of the most endearing things of the channel. The average video length is about the exact same length of the best ofs. Like, the average video length for Birthright was, and of course this isn't including the first 3 videos, which are technically in the best ofs split up, but that's besides the point. About 70 minutes for Birthright, and what, the best of's 71 minutes? You got 72 minutes for Conquest. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. Because going into the best of Revelation, I was like, well, you had about on the edge of 70 and 71 minutes for Birthright. Then Conquest is a firm 72. I want Revelations to be 74 minutes long. It didn't make that. I just finished editing it now. I haven't even proof-watched it yet, so maybe it'll actually get cut down. But I was like, oh, it's a 73-minute long video. The average video length is 73. Like, I don't have, like, the actual episode numbers here, but, like, what? The longest video in the entire series? None of them... There's only one video that cracks 100 minutes in Revelation, where there's 2 in Conquest, which is one of those things, but there's also more super long videos in Revelation. There's a lot of 90-minute videos in Revelation. And, you know, and supports I enjoy on my first playthrough by myself, but oh my goodness. Supports are the worst part about recording and editing these videos, at least in 3 houses. There's voice acting, so I can look, when I'm editing, I can look at the time meter like, okay, it's pretty flat, that means it's just a game. Oh, there's a spike, that means we talk there. I can't do that when we're voicing the supports, so I can't just like skip while we're not being entertaining, or where we're not doing, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but like the moments where we're not going, where we're not exceeding just the standard Let's Play idea. And I feel like there's more clips in the best of Revelation during supports than either of the previous 2 routes, though, which was good. And I think a large part of that is due to like constantly having Revelation's weird because I think it's the route where it has the most just videos of just me and Steph, but it's also the route with like the most Josh appearances, for instance, the most Brett appearances. So there are the most of certain guest stars in it, which I think is fun, and puppies being bad. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can hear a little bit of it. But I guess kind of put a bow on things. I was not expecting this series to be as great as it turned out. It is genuinely one of my favorite Let's Plays I've ever done. And, like, I have on my channel my, like, favorite series. I genuinely don't know where I want to put it. Like, my nostalgia does not want me to put it above Fire Emblem 4. But the realist in me is like, I think I should. That's kitchen sink if you hear that water, by the way. I have no control over that. Not my house, technically. But what's next? I mentioned the possibilities. I mentioned the possibilities in the end of it. Unless I change my mind for some silly old reason, after the absolute best of Fates, which is going to be a pain in the ass to edit, by the way, because I want it to be sub hour and a half. But there's over 3.5 hours of just the individual best stuff. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I want to keep it even per round. But, like, after all that, after the map ranking, I've already mentioned it. It's my best map ranking ever. And as I replay the games that Seth hasn't experienced, when I record them on the channel, I'm going to remake those map rankings because I have to, because I raised the quality bar so much higher. So genuinely, like, even if you haven't watched all the Let's Play, you should do that. But yeah, Thracia is going to be next, unless I change my mind. Me and Seth are literally off camera playing FE4. Chapter 5 was on camera. You should check it out. I essentially remade episode 12 of Genealogy of the Holy War, except with Seth this time, instead of Josh, Brandon, and Cole. And I did this to get them ready for that. It's going to be weird, because this is going to be the first time ever where we're bouncing between games. It's like we've been alternating Final Fantasy VI and FE4. I think we'd be almost done with Final Fantasy VI by now, if not for FE4. Which makes things complicated, is we're starting to get to a point where, like, Fates is getting close to over, and I just don't think we can beat Final Fantasy VI before this series ends. Which means we're going to be balancing between either Thracia or Sacred Stones. It is for sure one of those two games. Is ultimately what I do after this point really relies on how much more Seth is willing to do this with me. He's shown no interest of hating it on a personal level. It's just a busyness level. But as long as he's available to do, I want to keep doing it. I want to do Thracia with him. That's the one Final Emblem I haven't done on my channel. So if he's only able to do one more series after Final Fantasy VI, it has to be Thracia. But hopefully after that we'll see Fire Emblem 8 through 10 again, and if not, I'll be replaying at least the Tellius games on my second channel, which will be peak cinema. But yeah, I was not expecting to make this video. I was not expecting it to be. There's no way I don't cut this down. I love this series though. I had a lot to say. And maybe there'll be a clip of this or two in absolute best stuff of Fate, so who knows. Bye.